Hi, and welcome back to my channel. I'm Kim from K.Azcona Designs, and today we're going to sew up this As You Wish project box from Sew Girlie Fun. So if you've watched my previous video about what is contained in this box, you'll see all of the magnificence that is inside. All of the sponsors of the box are listed here below. Sew Girlie Fun put all of this together and designed all of the fabric and provided the majority of the hardware. SiahSwag provided the thread, Moxie provided the zipper pull, K.Dill Handmade created the pattern, and Stitchen Cold provided the clips. So this is the bag that we're going to sew up today. And this again is everything that was in the box I used for this bag. The only things that I needed to provide myself were the stabilizer, interfacing, rivets, and I used a little bit of black waterproof canvas down here on the gusset, and also my inside pocket also has black waterproof canvas. So this is the bag that we're gonna sew up. I really hope you enjoy the tutorial. I had so much fun making this bag. It is just the cutest thing ever. Please, if you like this video, please hit that like button and subscribe to my channel. It really, really does help me out. But for now, let's get sewing. First, I want to walk you through all of the different components of the bag, the finished bag. So there is a turn lock. You do not need to use a turn lock, but the box comes with a turn lock. You can also use a magnetic snap. I use the cotton canvas, which is this wonderful print for the majority of the bag. I decided to do this little border around my front flap made from part of the child size panel. I want to say it's a child size panel that does come with the box, but I just used some scraps from the bottom portion of that panel to make this outline. And on the back side, it does extend further down here, and I used it also for my tabs. So this bag also has these super cute webbing. I love this webbing. It is just adorable. And that's along the bottom side and also as your main strap. It does have a pretty unique strap connector. There's 4 different D-rings and a tri-glide. So when we take a look at the bag, so this is the front with the flap, and on the back side, there is this great zipper pocket down here. I put my label on the back, and this zipper pull from Moxie. Love this zipper too, it's red. And all the red thread is from SiahSwag, so that's included in the box. And then I lined mine with the waterproof canvas that comes with the box. It is such a cute waterproof canvas. Take a look in the unboxing video to see it up close. It's so cool. So once we open the bag up, there's this inside flap, and I chose to use my panel on the inside flap. This is As You Wish. Best part of the movie. And then there's a pocket here. I lined my pocket again with waterproof canvas. And more cotton canvas is here, and then waterproof canvas on the inside. I continued with the red thread. I thought it looked really, really cool against the blue with the red zipper. This additional zipper pull does come in your box, and then I did black as my inside pocket. I supplied the black waterproof canvas. I just wanted some contrast, and that's why I did it here too. On this gusset, I just wanted a little bit of contrast. So that's for my own stash. Then what is not expected is on the back side. So we have our flap, right? And you open it, and you'd expect you just have one opening, but no. Kathy is ingenious and made a hidden pocket. Look, there's a little hidden pocket back here to put more stuff. So you have pocket, big opening, zipper pocket, another pocket, zipper pocket on the back. So many pockets. So that is the bag. It is just the most adorable design. I'm going to show you how I modified the pattern to put a panel here in the inside of the flap and to do this outline here on the front side of the flag. And then the other thing I'm going to show you too is just an alternative way of doing your zipper pocket. It's slightly different from what Kathy has in the pattern, but mostly because I was trying to get a really, really crisp edge of my zipper pocket here, which I think I achieved. Look how good that looks. I don't know if you can see that, but it looks amazing up close. I tend to have trouble with waterproof canvas sometimes because of the bulk and getting it to kind of fold and stay flat and then do my top stitching and everything. It's sometimes not as crisp as I would like. So I tried this method that I found out about years ago, but I've never actually tried it. And I tried it for this bag and it worked out great. So I'm very excited. I'm going to keep doing that. But I actually utilized Kathy's pattern pieces to do this. So you'll see that in the tutorial. Okay, so that's the bag. Let's move on and I'll go through all of the supplies and everything else, and the pattern pieces and everything else that you're going to need. Okay, so let's start by looking at some of the supplies that you're going to need for this bag. I'm going to need some rivets. Rivets do not come in the project box, but if you have some rivets laying around, it is optional. You do not need to use them. I will be using them for this project. The project box did come with a turn lock, so just make sure you have that handy. I leave everything in the baggie so I don't lose any of my screws or my washer or any of the other pieces. And then your box does come with 4 rectangle rings and an adjustable slider. These are nice and hefty, this Tri-Glide. Then you'll need your webbing cut to the dimensions as specified in the pattern. So I have 4 different cuts, I want to say, that I just pre-cut. I have that ready to go. A marking pen, so Susie kindly included a Sew Girlie Fun pen, so I'm going to be using that to mark all of my pieces. Then, of course, some clips. I love the clips that came with this box. They are rose gold. They match my pen. They are so cute. These are from Stitchen Cold. So we'll be using clips. You could use these types of clips. I am going to use probably a variety of clips. I'm also going to use some plastic clips too. Just depends what you like, what you prefer, but these are so pretty. And then you're also going to need some 1/8 inch double-sided tape. Again, this is optional. I like to use tape on a lot of my projects. It just keeps everything in place the way that I need it when I sew. Then, because we have a turn lock, I highly recommend getting a set of mini screwdrivers that has the magnet here too, so you can magnetize the screwdriver and it makes it a lot easier to get those teeny little screws into your turn lock. And then the last thing I recommend is a plier stapler. There's different types of plier staplers. This is the regular size for regular standard staples. I got mine from Amazon. It was maybe like $7. This is new to me. This is a Tim Holtz mini stapler. So these are for really small staples. These staples are a lot smaller and easier to use for bag making, especially on like tighter corners. I just like how small it is. It's very helpful. I tend to use both. It depends with this project. I think I'm going to go for the smaller ones, the smaller stapler, just because of some of the curves. It's going to be easier for me. So those are your supplies. And then of course your project box should have come with some SiahSwag thread. I opted for the Tex 70. You have a choice between Tex 70 and Tex 45. My goodness. So Tex 45 or Tex 70. I chose Tex 70 for my machine. Okay, so let's go through all the pattern pieces really quickly and the other cuts that you'll need. So you are going to need 2 zippers and cut them to the size that the pattern indicates. There are 2. You should have also received 2 zipper pulls. One is this beautiful enameled Princess Bride 2-sided zipper pull. This is from Moxie. It's so pretty. And this is for my interior zipper. So you should have also received kind of this little door knocker teardrop zipper pull. So I've already cut those down. So then you're going to need pattern piece A. This is where we're going to deviate a little bit from the pattern. I haven't tried this yet, so we're gonna learn together. I have an idea. So what I decided to do with all of my pieces, or with my pattern piece A, is I decided to cut out kind of a center piece, and then the rest of the pattern piece, I used the bottom part of the panel that came with the pattern. And I'm gonna make like this cute little like frame around the center panel. We'll see how this looks. I'm hoping it looks okay. I hope my measurements are correct. But we'll see. I mean, I want to say like this is like 1 3/4 inches, something like that. Yeah, it's around there. It's about 1 3/4 inches wide-ish. So we're going to assemble that to create pattern piece A. Otherwise, you would just cut out one of pattern piece A and go ahead and fuse your stabilizer. I'm going to use fusible fleece as my stabilizer for this piece. I need to stitch all of this together before I fuse, so I'm just keeping all of the pieces together. So that's pattern piece A. Pattern piece B, you are going to need, before we even go further, I'm still dying over this fabric. This is a cotton canvas from Sew Girlie Fun. I can't with Susie. She just did such a great job. She also made this waterproof canvas too that's included in the box. It's just gorgeous. So I'm going to be using as my outer this beautiful fabric, and then as my lining the waterproof canvas. You can kind of mix and match as you wish. So for my pattern piece B, there are 2 exterior pieces. Only one of them has your stabilizer, and make sure you keep your stabilizer outside of the seam allowance. And then 2 pieces for the lining, and that's pattern piece B. Pattern piece C also has an exterior piece, again with your stabilizer and your lining piece. I will say with the cotton canvas, I probably didn't need to interface it with SF101, but I did. So I have SF101 on it, and I have fusible fleece. May have been overkill. We will find out if that was a big mistake. Pattern piece D is the back lower pocket, outside piece. I cut one of those, added my stabilizer, have a piece of lining in this pattern piece as well. I am going to put my logo tag, I think, on the back lower pocket, so I'm just keeping it together so don't forget to do it. And then pattern piece E is the back pocket lining. There's only one of those, so it's just a lining piece. And then pattern piece F. This is the full lining panel. So on the inside, when you open the bag, it's going to open like this. This is where I used my panel. Isn't that going to be cute? So my outer will be here. This will be the flap. And when you open the flap, oh, as you wish. And then you'll see the rest of it. So I need to stitch all of this together. So I added a 1/4 inch seam allowance just so that I could stitch it all. So we're going to make that piece. Otherwise, if you're not going to do that, then you just cut one big piece. But we're going to be different. We're going to make our piece for the inside. And then for my gussets, there are 2 gusset pieces. I am going to use black waterproof canvas that I put some fusible fleece on. For my interior, my lining, I'm using the waterproof canvas that came in the box, but I did also put some fusible fleece there. I felt like it might be wise to kind of double up on my stabilizer since it is fleece and it's not very sturdy, for both the lining and my outer, just to kind of give it a little bit more structure. The pattern does not call for that, but I just decided to do that. Then you're going to have pattern piece H and pattern piece I. Pattern piece H is technically a zipper overlay. I'm going to try something different though. I've never done a zipper like this before, but I heard years ago how to do this, and I thought it might be a good idea to try. Since I'm using all waterproof canvas for my lining, and waterproof canvas can be a little thick, like when you're installing zippers and having to like top stitch and stuff. So I'm gonna try this method. Again, we're gonna see how this works out. So instead of a zipper overlay, I use Decaville Light, and I cut out Decaville Light using the zipper overlay pattern piece, and I'll show you how that's going to come together. Maybe. Oh, I hope it works out. And then pattern piece I are just your zipper tabs, so I'm just using 2 scraps of the pink for my zipper tabs, and there's just 2 of them. Oh, I had SF 101 on the back of these. I did not mean to do that, so I'm probably going to take that off. I think I'm going to keep it as thin as possible. Well, I don't know. Nah, we'll see. We'll play. I don't know if I need it. And then pattern piece J are the interior zipper pocket panels, and there's 2 of those. So those aren't really going to be seen unless you open up the zipper pocket. So those are all your pieces. Okay, so we're going to prepare our outer gusset. So you'll need one of your gusset pieces, whatever you're going to use for the outside, and a piece of webbing. Cut to the length specified in the pattern. It's about the size of this gusset piece. It's about 1 inch or so longer, I want to say. But that's specified in the pattern. I put some double-sided tape on the back of mine just to kind of keep it secured. And we're just going to lay this down in the middle of the gusset. Try to get it where it is around the same, has the same overhang on both sides, and as centered as you can. I don't really measure this. I just kind of eyeball it. You can take a ruler and kind of see where you're at. So this is around 3/4 of an inch on that end, overhang, and about 3/4. So I did a good job. Just kind of press that down. Add a few clips just to kind of keep it in place while you sew. And then what you're going to do on the ends, you're going to take one of your rectangle rings, and on each end you're going to slip your rectangle ring through, or sorry, slip your webbing through the rectangle ring and fold it under. Notice I made some marks at the end of my gusset. It's about 1 inch away from the ends. That's where your fold should lie. So the fold for this should be right around that 1 inch mark. I just got stuck to some tape. So when you lay this down, just kind of line it up to the 1 inch mark. And I'm going to use a little bit more tape to kind of keep that in place. Just a little small piece. My folders. I just don't want it kind of shifting on me when I'm stitching. Make sure it's straight. It's going to fold it down just a bit more. Keep getting stuck on the tape. There we go. Keeps getting stuck on my tape. I use really strong tape. So there we go. I think that's lined up just about right. And just clip. You're just using clips just so nothing really shifts on you. So I'm just going to clip both sides. Okay, and we're going to repeat the same thing on the other side. Once you have everything clipped in place, what you're going to do is you're going to stitch 1/8 of an inch away from the long edges all the way down to the other side. Pivot across, kind of get as close as you can to your rectangle ring, and then go back down the other side and across the other rectangle ring. I am going to back stitch, and I think I'm also going to secure the ends with rivets, but I'm going to do that afterwards. I'm going to stitch first. Okay, so here's what your final strap should look like. So it's just a big rectangle. I'm gonna go ahead and put some rivets in here just to give it some added security. Okay, so I just added some rivets to the ends just to give it some stability. This is what it should look like now. So you can set this aside. Okay, so now we're gonna put together our front flap piece. And again, this is different than what is in the pattern. So this is my fleece, I can put that aside, and I have 2 pieces I cut out for myself. It should come together okay. I did a quick fitting and I think I'm good. So I have a middle piece and then these 2 end pieces. So I'm going to work with the end pieces first. So I'm going to do right sides together. I'm just going to stitch these 2 pieces at 1/4 inch. Just press your seams out. And I'll just use a little roller, a little seam roller. Just to kind of flatten it. Now what you're going to do is we are going to attach these pieces. So on the back side, I just drew a line down the center just so I could see where the center is. We need to actually align right sides together this way. So we're just going to flip this up and just try to find match your center seam with your center mark with your center seam. And then just clip all the way around. Okay, so once you have this clipped in place, what I like to do on the corners is this is where I like to staple. I don't put a ton of staples, but just enough to kind of hold it secure so it doesn't come apart. And I just make sure it's within the seam allowance. So right in that edge. Look how tiny these are. They're so great. Can you see that? So small. So once it's done, we're just going to stitch around using a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Okay, so once you fold everything out and press it, it should be pretty flat. It's gonna look so cute. So I'm gonna go ahead and press. Before you do that, just kind of check and make sure you don't have any puckering. Mine's a little tight, but I think I'll be good with an iron. So I'm gonna go ahead and actually just start clipping my curves a little bit, just so that they lay flat. So you're gonna clip right up into that stitching without cutting the stitching. Okay, so now I'm gonna go iron this and I'll be right back. Okay, so now that it's pressed, I went ahead and put my fusible fleece on the back, and then I realized I didn't top stitch. So before you put your fleece on the back, you're gonna wanna top stitch just around the pink part, around the border. So I'm gonna have to go through all layers, but that's okay. So this is pattern piece A. You can set this aside now. Okay, so now we're going to assemble our zipper. So grab your zipper tabs. And you're going to place the right side down. And just clip. And do the same on the other side. This right side should be facing down. And then we're just going to stitch on both ends. Okay, so now go ahead and flip these open, then go ahead and top stitch. Okay, so this is now prepared. Go ahead and grab your double-sided tape. This is opening this way. Make sure that the zipper is facing the way that you need it to close. I like mine to close to the left. So I'm going to assume that then this is the bottom. You're going to place your tape at the bottom. Okay, so now that we have our zipper prepared, grab your lower pocket D for exterior. Go ahead and put your label on. Recommended placement. I was looking for my scissors. The recommended placement is about 1 inch down from the top. So I'm just going to mark my center, and I'm going to measure 1 inch down. Okay, so now go ahead and find the center of your zipper tape. I like to just put a quick clip, just to kind of hold it while I try to align this. I'm just going to go ahead and mark both sides while I line here. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to flip this down. We're going to align our centers. Okay, you're going to have some overhang, that's fine. As long as it's centered, you're good. Okay, grab another piece of tape. Your lining piece of your back lower pocket, find your center, just mark that however you would like, and then with the lining face down, align your centers and press down. And then we're just going to stitch all the way down. Okay, so then just pull up your waterproof canvas. I just like to press my waterproof canvas, just press that hold. And then I flip this down and I press again. I then like to line up my bottom sides, and I put a few clips in here. Okay, now we're just going to top stitch from edge to edge. Okay, that part is complete. Go ahead and just trim your zipper ends. Okay, so now you're going to take your lower pocket, your back pocket lining E, And you are going to place this right side up. You're going to place this directly on top, and we're just going to kind of clip all of this around. It should line up pretty much with the back side of your pocket. Starting at the top, I'm just going to put a few clips in here, here and here. And then we can just add the lining to the clips that I already have. Okay, I'm going to move my zipper to the middle so I don't accidentally stitch it. I've been known to do weird things. And then we're just going to baste along the top, down, around, just so that it can kind of stay in place there. I just tend to use a really long stitch length to do it, or yeah, stitch length. I'm going to actually clip here too. I'm going to use different clips, short ones. I'm going to make sure it looks okay. I think it does. I'm actually going to go ahead and start at that top part now that I have it along nicely. There you go. So now when you open this becomes your bucket. So cute. True love. Okay. Okay, so now we're going to grab our front panel, the front flap that we just assembled, and then the back piece we just assembled. We're going to take the front flap, turn it this way, put my zipper about like halfway down just so I don't catch it accidentally. And we're going to do right sides together and line up the top edges. It may not line up absolutely completely. I just try to put it like right in the middle-ish. Now we're just going to stitch along the side. Okay, so once that's stitched, go ahead and flip this up, kind of press down with your fingers, and we're just going to top stitch along this edge. Okay, so we can go ahead and set this aside. Okay, now we're going to make our lining panel. If you're not piecing it together like this, it'll be one piece. You won't have to sew anything. And this is the full lining panel F. So if this was one piece, it would have just already come, you would already just cut it out as one piece just like this. Because I have two pieces I need to join, I'm just going to go ahead and line these up and stitch them down. I gave myself 1/4 of an inch overlap for both of them so that I could stitch it all together. I may do like a scant 1/4 of an inch only because I have a little bit of bulk here since I did line my my panel. Okay, so take this to the iron and go ahead and press it open. Okay, so now that this is pressed open, go ahead and take this panel and your assembled front flap panel with the back. And again, move my zipper to the middle. And we are going to take our lining and we're going to turn it so it's right sides together. And we are going to clip just this top portion from this edge from the curve all the way around to this other end. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and stitch along. Again, starting at this corner here where the curve is, all the way around to where the other curve is. The rest of this is going to remain open. Don't stitch the bottom. Okay, so now we're just going to snip our corners. Go ahead and snip into your corners up as close as you can get to that thread without snipping in the thread itself. Okay, so now go ahead and turn it. Start to see what this is going to look like. It's going to be really, really cute. So that's going to be our flat. I think that's going to be adorable. Oh, I like that. Okay, so now we're going to top stitch all along the outside edges. Hammer your seams if you need to. One of the tips is also to just kind of push this edge out, this corner. It likes to roll in on itself. I like to use a few clips when I'm top stitching something like this, just to keep everything where I need it to be. Okay, so we're just going to begin top stitching around the curve all the way around the flap and stopping at the other side of the curve. Okay, how adorable. So cute. Okay, so now we are going to attach the turn lock. So there are 3 pieces in the turn lock. This is where you're going to need your screwdriver set that I mentioned. Go ahead and unscrew your screws. I like to keep them in the lid of my screwdriver set here so I don't lose anything. And then there are also screws on the back here of the other side. Okay. So what you're going to do is on the pattern piece, there is a marking on the pattern piece where to align this. So go ahead and align it and make the mark. I'm not going to show the pattern piece on camera, but you'll see the mark. And you're just going to cut out that hole. Okay, once you have your hole cut out, I like to use a little fray check on the edges. Here we have the front part of our tongue lock. Okay, so go ahead and take your front slip pocket pattern piece C and mark where the other half of the closure is going to go. It's going to be this piece. Okay, so for me, this is where the center is. So I'm going to mark, I'm going to take my washer, I'm going to place it in that center part. I'm just going to mark where those are. And I'm going to see where I need to make my holes. I think I need to make them on the edges there. So great. Just grab something sharp. Okay, so then once you have this on, it's going to fit together like that. So cute. Oh, I love this. Okay. So now let's grab this piece. So this is your front slip pocket C. It's the lining part. And we're going to lay this right side down and clip the top edge. I'm going to go ahead and just stitch along the curve. We're going to do the same thing we did with the other curves. We're going to snip all the way along this curve as close to the stitching as we can get without stitching through it or clipping through it. So once you have all of this snipped all the way down, go ahead and fold this out. Again, I just like to press it with my fingers first and then flip it to the other side. Just gives it a nice crease. And I just take my fingers and kind of press along that curve. I'm going to top stitch this curve. I'm going to put some clips in here though to kind of keep it where you want it. Okay, so now you're going to take your two back body bees. Originally I only interfaced one of them. I was just playing around with this and I feel like I need a little bit more structure, so I went ahead and stabilized the other one, so they both now have fleece. I'm going to then take one of these and grab the pocket that we just assembled and just place it on top so the wrong side of the pocket is facing down. And just align the bottom and sides together. I'm going to just make sure that the distance up here on the left and right is the same, and I think I'm off. And then we'll go ahead and clip around, but let me just make sure I'm around the same. Okay, so go ahead and clip the pocket to the back body. So we're going to clip that, and then we're going to take the other back body, place that right side up, and take this panel, and you're going to put this with the back of the pocket facing down on top of the back body, just like we did the other pocket. And again, just try to line it up as best as you can, and then we'll measure up here and just make sure everything is equidistant. Okay, so now we're just going to baste all the way around the bottoms of both of these pieces. Okay, so these two should now be all basted together. We're going to start putting our gusset on. So go ahead and mark the centers. Let me find a pencil. I'd already marked a center here on the back, but I really need it on this side to line this up properly. So mark your centers of your gusset, and I just did with some quick snips. I just folded this in half and made a snip up here and a snip down here to find my center. So then decide which way you want your webbing to go. So if this is my front, I want the webbing, because it's directional. I want it to go this way. So that means I'm going to do right sides together, lining up my centers. I'm just going to put a couple of clips. Actually, this is really thick. Use a different type of clip. I know people complain about the plastic clips, but here's the thing, because they break, it's because you're putting a lot of stress on them. Plastic is going to crack over time, and then it is going to snap. So when you're using them for thicker things like this, definitely consider some metal binder clips instead. So this is what it should look like. Now at the corners, I am going to staple those. You just have to kind of position it as best as you can. It does fit, it's just a little rough. I like staples, it does keep it in place. Okay, so now you're just going to stitch this together all the way from this edge all the way around to this other edge here. Okay, so there's that piece. Now just go ahead and take your staples out and then snip your curves. Okay, so I went ahead and just snipped into the curves as close as I could get to the stitch line. Okay, so we're going to repeat what we just did with this other bag body panel. Okay, so once you have everything clipped together and stapled, go ahead and stitch again from the top all the way around to the other side. I like to do it with the flat side facing down, this part that's clipped facing down. Okay, so now this part is together and it's looking like a bag. Okay, let's put this aside. We're gonna move on. Okay, so now you're gonna take the lining pieces that remain for bag body B and just mark your centers top and bottom. On one of them, on the wrong side, go ahead and iron on the zipper overlay that we cut out of Decoville Light. So I just iron that on to this side. I use the measurements in the pattern to tell me where to line this up, but it's on the reverse side of one of the bag body B panels. Okay, so that is going to be the difference. The overlay itself, if you were to do a regular zipper overlay, it would have gone this side. We're not doing that. We're putting it on the back side. Then what you're going to do is go ahead and draw a line halfway through, kind of in the middle, which is about here. In about, I don't know, like half an inch or so from each end. It's probably not half an inch, but whatever. And then go ahead and draw like a V on each side, just so you know where to cut. Okay? So then we're just gonna cut down those lines. Grab some double-sided tape. And I'm just going to put it right before that, right below the center line that I just cut. And flip this over and do another piece on the other side. And then you'll do a little piece on that little V part. Oops. Maybe. This one's a little too big, but it's fine. Just take the paper backing off. I think I lifted off the piece of tape on this side. And Keeps sticking to my finger. Okay, so take your corners and pull these back. Press down. And then do the same with these longer edges. Voila! Look how pretty. I like to put a little fray check in the corners. Okay, so that's what it looks like. So pretty. Okay, so we'll put this aside, let the fray check dry. We're going to grab your J panels. These are the pocket panels, the interior zipper pocket panels, and your remaining zipper. Okay, so I have my two panels. I've got my zipper. You're going to turn this around. On the wrong side, go ahead and put some tape. Okay, so Tim, take your other panel, take your tape off, or your backing of your tape off. I'm going to place this other side of the zipper along the top edge of the other one. And we will stitch 1/4 of an inch seam allowance. Okay, so with your zipper panels, both of them facing up, and your zipper closing to the left, if that's your preference, go ahead and leave that there, and then we're going to take some more tape. And I'm just going to place it on here at the bottom. So we are going to take the backing off of the bottom part only. We're going to place this on the top here. It's going to be a little tricky. Let me try to smooth this down. Just try to get it to lay relatively flat. And just try to line it up. Nice and straight. Just kind of press this down. And we're going to stitch from end to end at the bottom. We're going to top stitch. You're going to go beyond each corner about 1/8 of an inch. I do not back stitch. We'll pull our threads through. Okay, so go ahead and flip this over. We are going to pull our threads through. Just pull until you see a loop and pull it through. And we'll tie these off. Okay, so now we're going to move our pockets down. So pull this bottom part and just kind of crease that with your fingers. Now everything should be facing down. Okay, so everything's facing down. Go ahead and remove your other backing for the rest of your tape. Bulges. There we go. Okay, so now we're going to finish top stitching. I'm going to start here in the hole that I ended with. I'm going to try to just position my needle there. Stitch across here, all the way across there, and back down. I'm going to meet my initial hole here. I'm not back stitching. I'm going to pull my threads through and knot them just like I did earlier. Make sure I didn't mess anything up. That's a little tight there. Hold on 1 second. I think when I was pulling so hard, I made it super tight in that corner. Just give it a little bit slack. There we go. That looks better. I'm using a Beadsmith thread zap. It just kind of melts my threads. I have also used lighters. I tend to burn things like my bag. So this is just a safer alternative. It just melts the threads. Okay, now the pocket, and it's glorious. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and just stitch along the sides here. We're not going to stitch the bottom. We are going to stitch the other side here too. I'm going to go ahead and just trim my pocket first. I have some excess here. And then the last thing I'm going to do, I'm going to be stitching this way, so I'm just going to stitch down. In my corners, I'm just going to grab a round thing, and I'm just going to round my corners. So that when we put everything, when we stitch our final stitch, when we close out our pocket, we're not going to have kind of pointy things sticking out. so I did back stitch a few times, or stitch and then back stitch a couple times where my zipper teeth are on both sides, just for some added security. So we're good. And this is still open. Okay. At this point, I'm just going to keep my zipper halfway open. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we are going to put the last remaining gusset, our lining gusset, on these panels. Go ahead and mark the centers of your gusset. This is printed. I think this is going to end up being what you see when you open the bag on that side. So I want the gusset facing this way, I think, because the words, I want them facing that way. Okay, so go ahead and match your centers, right sides together, and begin clipping. Okay, so I'm going to do this a teeny bit different than what is in the pattern. She has you stitching the same seam allowance all the way through. I'm going to start by stitching the same seam allowance that I did with the outer. Then I'm going to stitch inwards about another 1/8 of an inch. So I'm going to kind of gradually increase it by 1/8 of an inch. So it's a little bit of a wider seam allowance. Just to kind of prevent a kind of baggy inside. So I'll start my regular seam allowance here and then gradually kind of pull out 1/8 of an inch to the left here and keep going. And then I'll go back to my normal seam allowance somewhere around here. I'll kind of gradually go back to that seam allowance. And I'll grab your other panel and align it just like you did previously. We're going to stitch it the same exact way. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and just kind of trim down my seams a little just to reduce the bulk. Okay, here we have it. So cute. Okay, so at this point, remember to keep your zipper at least halfway open, if not all the way open. So we're going to turn it through the zipper. Okay, so we are going to put right sides together. So you're going to make sure that the exterior bag is right side out and the lining is wrong side out. So we're going to leave our lining like this, but we need the rest of it right side out. Thinking this through. You do. Oh, this is adorable. Getting a little sneak peek at what this is going to look like when it's all done. This is really, really cute. I mean, it's all kind of squishy right now, but you get the idea, right? Oh, I love this. I don't know if I'm going to be able to give it up. Okay. So, go ahead and put this now inside. Well, decide like where you want your zipper. I want my zipper when you open the bag to be facing this way. So I'm going to put everything in. It's going to be a little tricky. Okay. I didn't mark my centers. Shoot. I meant to do that before I stitch over here, or before I turned it out this way. Mark your center tops of the center. I'm just going to do it this way. Center. Snip for myself so I know. Make sure your rectangle rings are facing down. And we're going to go ahead and line up our seams here. I'm going to butterfly those so they're going the opposite direction of each other. Okay, we have that much clipped so far. Now go ahead and gently roll flap down. Actually, unrolling as I'm pulling it through. There we go. Okay. You're going to need to make sure you do not catch your flap in your stitching. So kind of push it down as much as you can. And then finish clipping. Okay, we're all clipped. Now go ahead and stitch all the way around the top edge. Okay, so once you have everything sewn, we're going to reach through our pocket. And we're going to carefully turn everything right side up. This is what it looks like. We're almost done. We're almost done. This is so cute. Pocket here, hidden pocket here. You're opening. Okay, so now that you've got everything kind of the way you want, go ahead and kind of roll these seams so they kind of are opened the way you need them to be. And then we're clipping. So we are going to top stitch all the way around. Pulling out the key fob tool. Things are a little thick right there, so I'm just squishing it. Okay, so it is all top stitched. Look how pretty this bag is. I really, really, really like the shape. It is so cute. So we just have the strap to do and we're done. How adorable. It's really, 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 really fun. Look Look at that on the bottom. That looks so cool. I'm glad I did black. Black looks really good. And it's waterproof canvas, so you can just kind of wipe down that black part. Oh, we have to stitch the pocket closed. I almost forgot. So here's the inside. And no bagginess or anything, which is why I wanted to stitch it the way that I did, so it fits really nicely and snug. So go ahead and pull your pocket out. And I have red thread and I'm not about to change it. So just grab your pocket. I like to just push my fingers in and down about, I don't know, 1/4 of an inch or so, 1/2 an inch, I don't know. Whatever that seam allowance was that I used. Was it 3/8? I don't remember. Okay, so I'm just going to stitch pretty close to the edge. So it is stitched closed. Just tuck that back in. We shouldn't have any pointy corners because we did that little curvy curve. Looks pretty good. And you won't be able to see that red stitching. I mean, unless you really look close, you can't see it. That looks so pretty. I love this red zipper. Looks so good with this thread. Ooh, beautiful. All right, so the last thing we have to do is our straps. Okay, so grab your webbing and your tri-glide. And I already cut mine to size. So there's 2 small pieces and then a larger piece. I'm going to go ahead and just slide one of my ends through. Wondering, like, does it matter which direction I have everything going in? Guess I just need to make sure it's all in the same direction, huh? Okay, so we're just gonna fold this under about, I don't know, 3/4 of an inch or an inch, and then you fold it down again. Something like that. I'm just gonna clip this. Again, because I just want it to match, I'll just go ahead and do this side kind of the same way. I'm just going to make sure things are folded about the same. You need them to be about the same length. I mean, roughly, right? I think that's close. I'm fine with that. Okay, so then you can either stitch these down or you can use rivets. I'm going to use rivets, so I'm just going to go over to my rivet press and put those in. Okay, so these are all riveted. Here's the front and back, front and back. So now you're going to take these ends, grab your bag, and slide it through here and do the same thing. So we're going to turn these under just like we did the other one and rivet. Or again, you can always stitch. Okay, so everything is now riveted in place on both sides. So now you're just going to attach the strap like you normally would as if it was an adjustable strap. So let me do it this way. So go ahead and go through. You're opening your tri-glide up over the bar and down. And on this side, pull it through. And then back up and back down. So it looks like this. So go ahead and we're going to fold under the edge just like we did before. So go ahead and fold this under and just kind of line it up and either stitch across or add rivets. Again, I'm going to do rivets, so I will be right back. Okay, so those are all riveted in place. Go ahead and take this loose end and put it through the remaining D-ring. And again, we're just going to fold and either rivet or stitch. So fold that over. And either rivet or stitch. Okay, everything is riveted on. This is the strap. Tri-glide. Other part of the strap. It's a really, really cool design for a strap, I think. I think it looks cool. And you could have done rivets all the way along the bottom. Talk about that at the pattern. I just chose not to. I thought it had a nice design. I didn't want to ruin that. But yeah, your bag is done. So exciting, right? So this is the As You Wish bag, again, from K.Dill Handmade. It has a pocket here, pocket in here. There's a zipper pocket, another little hidden pocket in the back there. Turn this around. Has a beautiful enamel zipper pull here and that very generous outside pocket. And this is all made the project box. So I hope you really enjoyed this tutorial. I really love the contents of this box. I really think it is pretty incredible what Susie has done to put all of this together along with her other partners. So again, the pattern is by K.Dill Handmade. All of the fabric was designed by Susie from Sew Girlie Fun. The thread, this beautiful, look how nice that's sewed up. This beautiful red thread is from SiahSwag. My favorite little clips ever are from Stitchen Cold. And the zipper pull, of course, is from New Moxie. Again, look at this. I ordered more. So I had more. And the label is Heartwood and Hide. That did not come with the project box, obviously, but that does look so nice with that red thread, right? So I hope you enjoyed the tutorial. I had a really great time making this one. I haven't made a bag like with these fun straps like this before. So I really hope you enjoyed watching it and learned something. Got a few tips and tricks. If you like this video, please comment and like, subscribe to my channel, all the things so that I can keep more videos coming your way. It really helps me out when you do like the videos and you do watch them all the way through. And leave me some comments too and let me know what you think of this. And if you got any tips. Until next time, bye.